Before the days of refrigerators humming in every home, ancient civilizations were locked in a constant battle against time and decay. With no modern preservation methods at their disposal, they had to get creative to ensure their food lasted through the cold months or on long journeys across unforgiving landscapes. Take medieval Europe, for example. Salt wasn't just a flavor enhancer. It was a precious commodity, sometimes used as currency.
Why?
Because it was one of the few reliable ways to preserve meat and prevent it from spoiling before it could be consumed. Now, imagine the pressure of living in a world where a single spoiled meal could be the difference between thriving and barely scraping by. It wasn't just a matter of inconvenience. It was a matter of survival. The societies before us had to develop ingenious ways to preserve food, and these methods, born out of necessity, continue to shape the way we store and consume food today. In this video, we're about to take you on a fascinating journey through 15 unique food preservation methods. Some are ancient, others modern, but all are time-tested and effective in their own right. Not only will you learn how these techniques extend the life of food, but you'll also discover how adopting them can contribute to a more sustainable and self-reliant lifestyle. Buckle up, because what we're about to share might just change the way you think about storing food forever. Let's begin with a classic, canning. This tried-and-true method has been preserving food for generations. The process involves sealing food in jars or cans and subjecting them to high heat, killing off the microorganisms responsible for spoiling. What's remarkable about canning is that it doesn't just heat the food, it creates a vacuum seal. This vacuum prevents air and other contaminants from entering the container, which helps keep the food fresh and extends its shelf life dramatically. The origins of canning can be traced back to the early 19th century, when French chef Nicolas Appert made an incredible discovery. If you heat food in sealed containers, it won't spoil. Appert's invention initially served a military purpose, ensuring soldiers had access to long-lasting, safe provisions. However, over time, this technique evolved and spread far beyond the military world. As technology improved, so did the canning process, making it more efficient and accessible to everyone from home cooks to commercial producers. These days, canning is widely used to preserve all sorts of foods, fruits, vegetables, meats, and even sauces. It's a wonderful way to enjoy seasonal produce year-round and dramatically reduce food waste. When done correctly, canned goods can last months, even years, while maintaining their flavor, texture, and nutritional value. Whether you're preserving a bumper crop of tomatoes or canning your favorite homemade jams, canning has stood the test of time as a reliable method for long-term food storage. But that's just one method in our arsenal. Now, let's talk about freezing. Freezing works by lowering the temperature of food so drastically that it slows down microbial activity and enzymatic processes, two key factors in food spoilage. By freezing food, we can lock in nutrients, texture, and flavor, making it a fantastic method for preserving food over long periods. Believe it or not, freezing food dates back to the days when natural ice was harvested and stored. But it wasn't until the 20th century, when commercial freezing technology was developed, that food preservation reached a whole new level. Home freezers became a staple in many households, revolutionizing the way we think about food storage. The ability to freeze vast quantities of food efficiently has made it possible to enjoy a wide variety of products throughout the year, even when they're out of season. The history of freezing food is nothing short of fascinating, and the advancements in technology have truly transformed the way we approach long-term food storage. But more on that later. Let's dive into other preservation methods that have been used throughout history to ensure we never go hungry. Freezing has evolved into one of the most popular and efficient methods of food preservation today. From fruits and vegetables to meats and even prepared meals, freezing allows us to store food for months, sometimes even years, while preserving its nutritional value, texture, and flavor. But while it's a convenient method, there are key tips and tricks to ensuring maximum effectiveness. First, it's crucial to use containers or freezer bags designed specifically for freezing. These prevent freezer burn, which occurs when food is exposed to air in the freezer, causing it to dry out and lose quality. Equally important is labeling and dating your items. This ensures you can keep track of how long things have been stored and use them within their optimal time frame. Another tip: avoid overloading your freezer. Proper air circulation is essential for even freezing, so leaving enough space between items will help maintain the best possible conditions for your food. Not all foods freeze well, though. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and meats do great in the freezer, but items like dairy products or cooked pasta tend to lose their texture when frozen. Knowing what works best for freezing ensures that you're maximizing your storage space and keeping your food as fresh as possible. Now, let's shift gears and explore drying, an age-old technique for preserving food that dates back thousands of years. Ancient civilizations like the Egyptians, Chinese, and Native Americans relied on drying to store food, especially during times when fresh supplies were scarce. The method works by removing moisture from food, which prevents the growth of spoilage-causing bacteria, mold, and yeasts. Today, drying remains as relevant as ever, especially with the advent of food dehydrators. These modern tools offer a controlled environment that ensures food is dried evenly and efficiently, unlike the traditional air or sun-drying methods, which are still popular for items like fruits, herbs, and vegetables. Drying has a major advantage. It doesn't require refrigeration, making dried foods ideal for long-term storage, camping, and even emergencies. Not only does drying preserve food, but it also maintains much of its nutritional value and flavor. Dried foods are lightweight, compact, and easy to store, making them a go-to solution for people seeking long-lasting, space-saving options. While it's still widely used in home kitchens, the technique is also integral to commercial food production. Let's continue our journey through preservation methods with salting, a time-honored technique that remains effective even today. Salting works by drawing moisture out of foods, such as meat or fish, through a process called osmosis. This creates an environment where bacteria and other microorganisms can't thrive, thereby preventing spoilage. In addition to extending shelf life, salt imparts a unique flavor, making it a popular method for preserving and enhancing foods across cultures. Salting is a technique with a history as old as civilization itself, deeply intertwined with the survival of ancient cultures. In ancient Egypt, Rome, and China, salting was an essential method for preserving fish, meats, and other perishable foods. Salt was so critical that it was often used as currency, demonstrating just how vital it was to daily life and commerce. In medieval Europe, salted fish and meats were fundamental for surviving harsh winters and long voyages, where refrigeration didn't exist and food preservation was a matter of life or death. The process of salting works by drawing moisture out of food, creating an environment that prevents harmful bacteria and microorganisms from growing. This dehydration effect is what helps to preserve the food for extended periods, making it one of the earliest methods of ensuring a steady food supply. As a bonus, salt imparts a distinct, savory flavor that enhances many dishes. In modern times, while we rely on refrigeration and other advanced technologies, salting is still widely used in kitchens around the world. It is especially common in the preparation of cured meats like bacon, ham, and sausages, where the process has been refined and perfected over generations. The combination of salt with other preservation techniques, such as drying or smoking, increases the shelf life and flavor complexity of these products. Not just for preservation, salt is also indispensable in modern culinary techniques, adding seasoning to a wide variety of dishes. Speaking of smoking, it's another ancient method of food preservation with a long tradition. Smoking works by exposing food to smoke from burning wood, which imparts a distinctive flavor while also preventing spoilage. The smoke is rich in compounds with antimicrobial properties, which inhibit the growth of harmful bacteria and mold. Early societies, from the indigenous peoples of the Americas to Scandinavians, discovered that not only did the smoke preserve food, but it also made it taste incredibly delicious. Over time, smoking methods evolved into more controlled processes, including electric and gas smokers, allowing for consistent results and enhanced flavors. But smoking isn't just for meats. It's a widely appreciated technique for adding rich, smoky flavors to cheeses, vegetables, and other foods. Modern smokers offer the flexibility to experiment with different wood types, such as hickory or mesquite, to create unique tastes. Whether it's for preservation or flavor enhancement, smoking has proven to be an invaluable technique both in the culinary world and for home cooks alike. Finally, let's talk about pickling, a preservation method that dates back thousands of years, used across many cultures and regions. By immersing food in vinegar or brine, pickling creates an acidic or salty environment that prevents bacteria from thriving. Pickling can also involve fermentation, where beneficial bacteria convert sugars into acids, further helping to preserve the food. The tangy flavor produced by pickling is beloved in many dishes and provides an extra layer of complexity to everyday meals. Like salting and smoking, pickling was indispensable for ancient societies. The Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans used pickling to preserve a variety of foods, including vegetables, fruits, and meats. The extended shelf life and ability to store food without refrigeration made pickling essential for people living in times and places where fresh food was not always available. Today, pickled foods continue to be a staple in many diets, offering both flavor and preservation without the need for modern refrigeration. These traditional preservation methods, salting, smoking, and pickling, have stood the test of time and continue to play a crucial role in food storage today. Their lasting relevance speaks to their effectiveness in keeping food safe and flavorful from ancient civilizations to modern kitchens. In Europe, pickling has long been an essential method for preserving vegetables and fruits through the harsh winter months. It was particularly important in regions where fresh produce was scarce during the cold season. The tradition of pickling continues to be a culinary and cultural staple today, reflecting its historical importance in food preservation. Modern pickling offers a wide range of possibilities, from traditional pickled cucumbers to more creative variations such as pickled beets and kimchi. This evolution in pickling recipes encourages experimentation with different spices, herbs, and types of vinegar, blending tradition with innovation. Pickling has also become a popular part of the fermentation movement. Fermented foods, which include pickled items, are celebrated for their health benefits, especially for their probiotic properties. These probiotics support gut health, boost immunity, and improve nutrient absorption. The art of fermentation itself is based on using beneficial bacteria and yeast to break down sugars and carbohydrates, producing byproducts such as lactic acid, alcohol, or carbon dioxide. These byproducts help preserve the food and create complex, tangy flavors. Fermentation was a vital technique in many ancient civilizations, including those in China and Eastern Europe, who relied on it to store their harvests and survive through difficult seasons. Fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, and yogurt have not only been crucial for preservation, but also offer improved nutritional benefits, making them more digestible and enriching. This method of food preservation was a survival strategy for our ancestors, ensuring that they had access to food throughout the year. In modern times, fermentation is enjoying a resurgence as people rediscover its health benefits. Fermented products are seen as a natural alternative to synthetic additives and are enjoyed for both their flavor and nutritional value. Next up is vacuum sealing, a more recent innovation in food preservation that creates a vacuum by removing air from a food package. This method slows down oxidation and spoilage, making it highly effective for extending the shelf life of fresh, frozen, and dried foods. Without oxygen, bacteria and mold struggle to grow, so vacuum-sealed foods remain fresh for weeks or even months. Originally developed in the 20th century for industrial use, vacuum sealing became popular for home use in the 1960s. It has revolutionized food storage, making it a preferred method for preserving everything from leftovers to bulk groceries. When combined with freezing or refrigeration, vacuum sealing offers even better preservation results. It's particularly popular for meal prepping, sous vide cooking, and long-term storage of meats, vegetables, and dry goods. Vacuum sealing reduces waste, keeps food fresh longer, and is a simple yet highly effective method for saving space in the kitchen. Now, let's explore the next preservation technique: sugar preservation. Sugar preservation is a centuries-old method that helps prevent spoilage by drawing moisture out of food, creating an environment that inhibits bacterial and mold growth. This technique is commonly used in making jams, jellies, and syrups, where sugar not only preserves but also enhances flavor by adding sweetness. Historically, it was used across Europe and the Middle East, especially for preserving fruits. During the colonial era, when sugar became more widely available, it spread to other regions, allowing households to preserve harvests for months or even years. Before refrigeration, sugary preserves were vital for extending the shelf life of seasonal fruits, particularly in winter. Today, sugar preservation remains popular in home kitchens and commercial production, with homemade jams and jellies still capturing the flavors of seasonal fruits, while commercial producers use sugar to preserve syrups and candies. This method continues to be a simple, effective, and delicious way to preserve food. Moving on, pasteurization is a method that revolutionizes food safety by heating food or liquids to a specific temperature for a set time to kill harmful bacteria and pathogens. This process extends the shelf life of perishable items without significantly altering taste or nutrition. Invented by French scientist Louis Pasteur in the 19th century, pasteurization was originally developed to prevent wine and beer from spoiling. The discovery transformed the beverage industry and eventually expanded to include dairy, juices, and other food products. Pasteurization drastically reduced foodborne illnesses, making food safer to consume and store, especially in dairy products, juices, meats, and eggs. The next method is brining, which involves soaking food in a saltwater solution. Brining works by drawing moisture out of food, creating an inhospitable environment for harmful microorganisms. It not only preserves food, but also enhances flavor and texture, especially in meats and vegetables. Brining has been used for thousands of years, particularly for preserving meats like pork and fish. Before refrigeration, it was essential for sailors and explorers who needed provisions for long voyages. The final segment of the script delves into various traditional and modern food preservation techniques. Brining, an ancient preservation method, remains a key practice today, especially for meats and vegetables, as it enhances flavor and retains moisture during cooking. In modern kitchens, brining is used not just for preservation, but also to improve texture, with popular applications including Thanksgiving turkeys and homemade pickles. Blanching is another technique for maintaining the quality of vegetables before freezing or drying. This process involves briefly boiling vegetables and then plunging them into ice water to stop the cooking. It prevents enzymatic spoilage and helps retain flavor, color, and nutrients, making it essential for quality frozen produce. Chemical preservatives, such as sulfites and nitrates, are vital for extending shelf life, especially in processed foods like bread, canned goods, and cured meats. Although there is growing concern about their health effects, they play an essential role in preventing spoilage and ensuring food safety. Root cellaring is an age-old method that relies on nature rather than technology. Storing produce underground in a cool, humid environment slows spoilage and allows fresh food to last for months without electricity. This sustainable technique is experiencing a resurgence, particularly among those seeking self-sufficiency. Oil preservation, another ancient method, involves submerging food in oil to create an airtight seal, preventing bacterial growth. This technique has been widely used in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern cultures and continues to be popular for preserving herbs, meats, and vegetables while infusing them with rich flavors. The concluding remarks highlight that food preservation is more than just a practical necessity. It's deeply tied to history, culture, and sustainability. The message encourages viewers to share their preferred preservation methods and to subscribe for more sustainable living tips.